Gang, 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 gang. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? You are now watching Juke Boy Sports Show. I am your host, Kyng Ralph. Here with another show, Dolo. Hope everybody's doing good out there in TV land. Having a good day. Just got done with dinner. Feeling good. But let's get started. Before we jump into everything like we always do, send a shout out to the sponsor. If you're looking for a no crash jitters energy drink, go to dubby.com, w.com, use promo code JUK Juke, 20% off. We're gonna get great. And if you're regardless of how you're here, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button while you're here. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Subscribe at Juke Network on both YouTube as well as Facebook. On Facebook, once we get over to 100 followers, I will be able to go live straight from just that page. No longer need the He Say channel. So if you're here from the He Say She Say channel, please go over to Juke Network and follow that page. Follow me at KYNGRAPH on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, @_X on Twitter. And you can follow the podcast page on Instagram as well, Juke Sports Show, @Juke Sports Show. And let's get into it, man. Thunder and OKC wrap up Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Thunder, it never really was that close, to be honest with you. It was an entertaining game to a certain degree. It's been an entertaining series. A lot of storylines popped up after the game and because of the game. So first one, forget what quarter it was, but during the game, Tyrese Halliburton re-aggravates a calf injury in which he suffered in Game 2. Regardless if you feel like he was really injured or not, I've seen people questioning whether or not he was injured. I'm not going to go there with that. But he was not effective in the game. I think he had 4 points or 3 points in 3 quarters, and then scored a free throw in the fourth quarter. And then just wasn't really effective, didn't really look like himself, couldn't create separation. I give him the benefit of the doubt of being injured, especially the time that he missed off the court, was going in the back, people was working on his leg. And so I'm not finna question, but the question is, do you blame Halliburton or Rick Carlisle, Coach Carlisle, for game loss? I'm giving it a 50-50 split because I feel like as a person that plays sports, I didn't play at that level. I didn't play professionally, but I still have a competitive spirit. As the competitor and being injured or hurt, however you want to look at it, I played through injuries, even to the point where it was a detriment to my team trying to play through them. So it's the NBA Finals. In your mind, people always tell you how hard it is there. Just because you get there once early in your career, like Dan Marino went to the Super Bowl as, I think he was a rookie or a second-year player, never got to the Super Bowl again after that, or even got close to it. And so I think that when you have these opportunities, I can't blame him for trying to play through the injury. Now, the coach, on the other hand, can look and see that T.J. McConnell is balling right now. My star player is hurt and not playing well. Let me go with the hot hand. And I feel like this is that area in Halliburton's career that he's getting to. He's going to get a benefit of the doubt a lot of times from a lot of people, while also his coach. If there was another player, say like Nimhard's not playing well, and T.J. McConnell is playing well, TJ's gonna get that run over because it's Tyrese Halliburton or Siakam. Those are the only two people that, regardless of the games, how their game is going and the way that they're playing in that moment, we're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt in the fourth quarter to really give us an opportunity to close this out. And so that's why I don't blame Tyrese Halliburton for wanting to play, but I also, on the back end, just as a checks and balances, the coach should have had the wherewithal to be able to be like, yeah, you just don't got it today, my boy, so we got to sit you down. So 50-50 split on that one. And then the Thunder, maybe this topic is a little premature because they haven't technically won the first title. But the way Jalen Williams played, um, 40 points, Shea has 30 and 10 assists, protecting the rim, playing solid, not playing like going into this. I did kind of lean Chet, but I did say whoever it was that was gonna be the number two and the roommate to Shedeur Alexander through these playoffs. Someone needed to do it to Jalen Williams and Chet, and then it just so happens that right now it's looking like Jalen Williams. He's had over 26 points in 3 straight games, topping it off with a 40 piece. I had Thunder in 6, which is why I didn't have this topic. I said Thunder in 6. I said that the Pacers would get game 3, the Thunder would get game 4, game 5, and then finish it off in game 6. And so I can see it. I just don't see the Pacers winning 2 games in a row. I can see them getting a game 6 in Indiana just for the sake of being in Indiana, ruckus crowd, basketball city, basketball town. I don't really, but I don't think that Indiana will be able to stop them in this series. I actually honestly think that the Thunder have figured the Pacers out, honestly. But to get back to the topic, can the Thunder be the next dynasty? And when you really start to think about it and you look at it, you got Jalen Williams, who is, how old is he? 24 years old. Chet's even younger at 23. Shea, who I believe is 26. So your big three, you will run up against with anybody. Oldest one is 26. He'll be 27 on his birthday is my birthday. So his birthday's in like 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. And so when you have that playing at this high of a level, where Jalen Williams is a heck of a defender, first team defense, first team all pro type of talent that he is. Chet being able to protect the rim while also being able to give you 20 and 10 on any given night. And then SGA as the MVP. When you have that type of big three, it really puts you in a position where like sky's the limit. You have, barring health, you have at least another 5 years, as long as health and the front office don't fuck it up. You have nothing but opportunity for the next 5, 6 years, 7 years, depending on at what level does Shea continue to keep playing at once he's 32, 33, 34. Right now, the way that with modern medicine and players' diets, the way they take care of their bodies, like I'm going to get into Kevin Durant in just a second, but pause, that sounds wild. We'll talk about Kevin Durant in just a second. But he's 37, coming off of a season where he didn't even look like he lost a step, averaged 27 points a game, 26 points a game. And so I think the Thunder could be the next dynasty. I'm not willing to call them yet. Got to get number 2 before at this point, for me to start giving them dynasty talks, because I definitely thought the Celtics was going to be a dynasty. They lose Tatum. There's I think it's Achilles or his ACL. He's gone for all of next year. There goes that dynasty talk. And so KD, list teams. Right now, I believe it's the Spurs, Rockets. I think it's just the Spurs and Rockets. At one point, it was the Timberwolves. At one point, people talked about the Knicks. But I just don't see. I just literally see the Spurs or the Rockets. And so, what team benefits him the most of all the teams that are in it? And I really think that if you don't have to give up too much with the Rockets, I think they're the ones that benefit from having him the most. Because in the end, when you have a Fred VanVleet, when you have the Thompson twin, Şengün, Jabari Smith, and then the talent that they have on that team, the coaching that they have. They just had pretty much everything except someone that's been there and could close out a game. And when you really able to buckle down with it, I think Kevin Durant fits that mold for them perfectly. He doesn't have to come in and be their best player. He can just come in, be a guy, do his job. He's a hooper, that someone that just wants to hoop. And I can see both of them working out. I just think that right now, with the teams that they have, I would prefer the Rockets get Kevin Durant, and then you just let that Spurs team continue to get better as they get older. Because I think Wemby and De'Aaron Fox is going to be a heck of a 1-2 punch. Castle as well, and the young talent that they have getting ready to come in. They have a number 2 pick, and I think they have a number 10 pick. I could be wrong, but I know the Rockets. No, I think the Rockets have the number 10 pick, and so there's talks of them trading that pick and Jalen Green to the Suns for KD. Hopefully, they don't have to give up too much to get KD, because that's a lot of the issues with the past 2 teams Kevin Durant has been on. Is when you're trying to acquire him, you're pretty much depleting your roster while also acquiring that talent. Now, he's a heck of a talent where he can make up for a lot of different things. But at this age, 37 years old, I wouldn't go into a situation expecting him to be able to cover, giving up that much talent for him. He should just be a cog that you can put in place, and he play his role at a high level. And so the big 3 had a heck of a debut weekend. But Steven Jackson gets into a altercation with a opposing player. The fact that Stack and Mad Max are head coach and assistant coach is crazy, first of all. But while we're already here, he gets into an altercation. Mike Bees and Lance Stevenson are making it hard on Dwight Howard, and his altercation happens where they get scuffling. Dwight Howard and Lance Stevenson, where they get warned. There was even a Big 3 put out a statement today I put on my story. And it's just so Legion. Is this good for the league? I think to a certain degree it is. I think that when it comes to the NBA, one of the big knocks on any sports teams, I hear college football versus NFL, is the want, the care, the fight, the grit that the game used to have. And I feel like these are things that, in the end, I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I do think that how buddy people are with the opposing team nowadays is so a little off-putting to a certain degree. When we grew up, you really believed that Mike and Isaiah Thomas did not like each other, or you really thought that Charles Barkley and Karl Malone didn't like each other. There was those rivalries, there was a tenacity that they played with that the NBA just doesn't really have right now. And when you go to the Big 3, it's a 3-on-3 league. Some people that are there weren't really the best at their time. So really right now, their whole thing is to muck up the game. And you get a lot of physicality, and I think it's good, but I do think to a certain degree, being able to keep cooler heads must prevail in order to not have such a negative light on it, on the league. I think the physicality, the competitiveness is good for it, but don't let it go to the point where it's so overboard. And I enjoy the Big 3. I think that is good basketball. I think I love the competitive spirit. I feel bad because there's like Montrezl Harrell. Why is he not in the league? Dwight Howard. Now maybe at this point in his career, maybe I get it. But 2 or 3 years ago, over the last couple of years, I just didn't understand why he wasn't on somebody's roster. Especially with the ascendance of Jokic, how well he plays against Jokic when he went one-on-one with him. And so the big trade that happened over the weekend is Desmond Bane goes to the Orlando Magic. He was introduced today. KCP as Cole Anthony and 4 first-round draft picks go to Memphis. It does make the Orlando Magic legit contenders. I think they have as good a shot as anybody, honestly. Like, when you look at it, I think Desmond Bane, I feel like he can give you a Siakam type output. And then Paolo Banchero, all of this is going to be so dependent on who's going to be the number 2 to run with Paolo Banchero as he gets better. And what's his ceiling? Because at 6'10", a game like a Melo, where's his game going to go? How good can he be as your number 1 star? Can he be your number 1 star and you can get to a finals? But you have a good young roster. You got subs. You bring in Desmond Bane. You put him next to Beck, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero. You still got Wendell Carter. So you have a good roster with an opportunity to do something here. And you're going to have a year where, like I mentioned before, Jason Tatum's not playing. So the Celtics are a little bit. We'll see what happens with Drew Holiday and Porzingis over this offseason. But then the Cavs, what happens with the Cavs? I talked about last week. I talked about Darius Garland. I liked him being on this team, but since they got Desmond Bane, that happens. And so where do we go from here? Because you have an opportunity to put your name in that hat. Nobody saw Indiana being where they are right now. And so with the Knicks, what moves do the Knicks make? Does Giannis go to New York? Does Giannis stay put? Where does Giannis end up going? Which is what I really think will end up being the deciding factor of what happens in this next in the next season as far as the Eastern Conference. But I think they have as good a shot as anybody, to be honest with you. I think with adding Desmond Bane, who is a 40% three-point shooter, hold on, let's just see what his numbers are over the last couple of years. So Desmond Bane, and he's only 26, so he's averaging about 20 points a game, 19, 6, and 5, shooting almost 50% from the field, over 40% free. And so when you have someone like that, catch and shoot, it's great. I seen a stat where the Orlando Magic were like dead last or close to last in both three-point shooting, catch and shoot situations. And so you get someone that can stretch the floor, tough defender, tough, strong defender, one of the most – I see he's the most talked about when it comes to his physique. Sheesh, Ralph, beat me up. But the way he's built, he built like a football player, but he just happens to play basketball. And so when you have someone like that, you bring in that type of talent. I just think the sky's the limit with the young team that you have. All of this though is because you need a guy, and I think that this is the biggest thing when it comes to the Thunder and the Pacers, and why I picked the Thunder and Pacers is when all hell breaks loose, who is going to be able to drive the ship and get you there? And I just don't think that the Pacers have that over the Thunder. I trust the Thunder's one guy. Now it looks like they got 2 guys that can take the reins. But with Paolo, can he be the guy the driver essentially? And that's the part where I'm not 100% sure, but I think he can. He has all the talent in the world, but he is young. And so going into the fast break, delicious. Going into the fast break. So Asia Wilson missed her third game in a row with a concussion that she sustained against, I think it was the second quarter against LA Sparks. And so we lose today. But in the end, the silver lining for this and what could end up working or how it could work in our favor. Jewell Loyd, who is a newcomer to the team but has been playing at a high level all of her career, this gives her an opportunity to get more touches, more shots, get more in the rhythm, kind of learn things while also Asia can watch how the team is playing and be able to come back in and help people get to their spots to be able to succeed in a way that where in the end we can have long-term success. Because right now it's not looking good. I think 5-6 right now. We went into it with the third best odds in order to get to the finals. I have us getting to the finals now. I could be a little biased, but that's not here nor there. And so, in the end, I think that this injury could end up being a good thing in the long run. I think it gives the team an opportunity to settle in, get shots, maybe Asia half a step back when she comes back, and not be so ball dominant to a certain degree. She leads the team in rebounds, points, assists. Like at some point, like you gotta let other people get some burn. You know? Nah, I'm just playing. But I just think that when it comes down to it, I think that Jewell Loyd is not so accustomed to someone like an Asia Wilson to where it's affecting the way that she's playing, and it just doesn't look as good as I thought it would have been. I definitely thought that she would have been able to step into this Kelsey Plum spot and be able to do what she did at a higher level. And that is maybe where I fucked up at. My bad, Kelsey. Got to give you your props. In the end, I always said he was a good player, but I just felt on the defensive end, you weren't giving what I thought we needed. And now we don't really look as good as I thought we would have. So hopefully the Aces be able to turn it around. But right now, I think with Asia being out for these games, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, and Jewell Loyd all getting an opportunity to get more shots, more touches, get more of a rhythm, and then Asia come back and they can hit the ground running. Hopefully it works out that way. And going into this, man, when it happened, I definitely thought it was bullshit, to be honest with you. But because I've followed Dion and Shedeur for so long, but watching the way he's handled himself since he's been at rookie mini camps, OTAs, and now training camp, his interviews, the way his presence, whoever spread the report that Shedeur showed up to a pre-draft meeting unprepared, cut the cap, bro. There's no way in hell. I didn't believe it at the time, but I definitely don't believe it now. Just look at how he's handled himself since he's been drafted. He put his head down. He's been working, putting in the work. His teammates are seeing it. Coaches are seeing it. Jerseys are flying off the rack. If you go on NFL, let me look, because I checked this before. Let's see if it's still the same. If you go on NFL's Instagram page, all right, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows down is a 5th-round quarterback who was a 4th stringer, supposed to be. But look at the numbers he's doing. And the post itself is doing numbers. So I just don't quite understand why people were going out of their way to try to talk about this kid in a negative way. It just don't make sense to me. Seeing the way that he's handled himself, answering the questions, honestly, but also with a media savvy that, who would have known that Dion wouldn't have prepared him for that. But he's put his head down, put the work in, and I see him getting some starts at some point in this year, because he should definitely beat out Dylan Gabriel. And I think that between Joe Flacco, him, and Kenny Pickett, he's the best talent at quarterback in that quarterback room of all 4 of them. So at some point, I hate that we end up wishing negative things on people, but because I'm not trying to hope that Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett get hurt, but that's just the nature of the beast to a certain degree of how people come in. Someone slips in the shower or gets sacked and now they broke a collarbone or have a bad stretch of games and now Shedeur is playing. And so I think at some point he's going to get some starts. I doubt he starts week 1, but I do think that by like a week 4 to 6, I could see him getting his first start and then is off to the races at that point. And so with my last topic, we need to close the gap between the generations. And I don't know where this comes from because I grew up where I hung out with my dad and his friends, and I hung out with my mom and her friends. I was always around my older generation. So for me, I'm very much in tune with a lot of things of like that they liked, they did, where things come from, older music to where even like football players in the 70s and 80s, wrestling from the 80s to the early 90s, sports of all types. I just feel like it's so funny, like to not knowing who Wale is and you're into hip hop music is fucking wild, especially given the age that you're at, because there's no fucking way you've never heard of Wale at all, and you're in your early 20s. Like, what were you listening to? And so then to really go about it, like I think it was Cam Scatterbo. And there's a lot of young people going up playing sports and doing certain things that I believe, and I get it because of the OGs and the older people got to stop shitting on the younger people. I get it. They're sensitive, dog. Like, it is what it is. Like, at some point, you are not that sensitive, but you also can navigate around someone else's sensitivity to where meet them where they are. If you are trying to hope better for them, meet them where they're at. You can't talk shit about them and then be like, hey, let me mentor you, young blood. Like, no, like you just called me sensitive or soft, and then right after that told me you fucking with me. Like, what are we doing here? But I do think that there's a little bit of a back and forth that needs to be had because it's too much of the young generation that just doesn't know things about the older generation or things that started with the older generation. Because in order for you to go move forward, you have to be able to know where you came from. And that for me is where we have to be able to close that gap. However it happens, I hope it does. But thank you all for watching. I do got to get up out of here. Like I said at the beginning, it's been scrolling around along the bottom. But make sure you follow me at KYNG RALPH. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube at Juke Network, JUK Network. Follow the Juke Network page on Facebook. Follow us as well on Instagram at Juke Sports Show. You can also catch the audio version of this if you happen to miss it, or if you're just rather watch or rather listen to the audio version rather than watch the full episode. You can catch that on anywhere that you get your podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, and anything else. I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all stay blessed. Peace, love, peace, and chicken grease.